So then I was just going to say that after Salesman, which was a really big critical success, but it didn't really make any money. And there was always at Maysles, we were always in business but hanging on by a thread, kind of. And I think a lot of production companies were like that, and still are. Mainly because they had, I think I told this, that I don't want to repeat myself on what I said the other night, but they couldn't get an insurance policy large enough to allow it to play in a theatrical a series of theaters, and so they had to sell it to a wealthy individual who could then buy that insurance policy, and he basically made the money off the film. The Maysles didn't really make the money off the film. So, but Gimme Shelter is I think if you study that film, the editing of that film is quite extraordinary, and that a lot of that credit goes to Charlotte Zwerin, who David mentioned. She also edited Salesman, and she was very much a part of the creation of these I think extraordinary classic films. And then, so after that, I came to Maysles soon after Gimme Shelter, and it was just a real struggle to stay in business. And we really were making an effort then to try to do a few commercials in the kind of testimonial or verite style. The artist Christo, who are good friends with the Maysles, also hired us to do a few films, and so we kind of made a little bit of money, but we were still in debt. But despite that, we got a call from a photographer named Peter Beard, who was at that time dating Lee Radziwill, and she wanted to make a film about the first 10 years of her life in East Hampton, her and Jackie Onassis, her sister's life in East Hampton. And so they hired the Maysles, and the Maysles went out to East Hampton and tried to film with Lee, variety of situations where they would find local townsmen who would talk about their father, or they'd go to the stables where they kept their horses and reminisce. But there wasn't really much of a film until Lee took the Maysles to Grey Gardens, and they met Big and Little Edie Beale. And right away, the Beales were just captivating, and they, in many ways, stole the show. And so the film that we edited together was less about Jackie and Lee's early childhood and more about the Beales. And Lee was unhappy with that and stopped the project before it was even finished. And yet we all felt that there was something about Big and Little Edie Beale that was just, that they were just extraordinary subjects. And in particular, the way their gift of gab, just their conversations, and just the relationship between the mother and daughter, what was really going on there. It seemed like something right out of Tennessee Williams. And so a year after the contract with Lee Radziwill expired, the Maysles went back to Grey Gardens and started filming. And they filmed for 6 weeks straight, which is the same thing they did for Salesman. They filmed Salesman over a 6 weeks period and then stopped filming and edited it. Same thing with Grey Gardens. They filmed for 6 weeks straight.